Okay.
So my recommendation would be that whatever new entity would be created to run the ambulance service would just go through the new license application process that's laid out in statute 144E.11.
So would they have to do that, or could they do that, meaning the joint powers start the process with it still being in the hands of the city of Nashua?
So what would happen would be Nashua would maintain their license and responsibility for responding in the PSA until they until there was either a transfer, until we granted a new license to cover that same PSA, at which point we would simultaneously close the existing Nashua license. Or, I don't like to push this option, but in theory, Nashua at any time can surrender their license and shutter the ambulance service.
Correct.
Obviously, that's not ideal. I would not push for that, but the new Joint Powers Board could be going through the application process. Simultaneously, Nashua would maintain responsibility for responding until that new license, was approved, and then we would simultaneously close the old Nashua license, at which point the Joint Powers Board would have full responsibility for providing ambulance service.
Okay, great. Do you know, I don't know if we talked about this or not, Charlie, how many joint powers are there within the state that are running ambulance services? Any clue?
We don't have a solid number on how many, taxing districts or joint powers boards exist. I know that there is one in, Cloquet area fire district has a joint taxing district, and then Dodge Center down in southeast Minnesota also, they kind of have they've reached an interesting arrangement, and, what they have going on is the city of Dodge Center, who currently holds the license, is going to maintain the license, ownership of the license, and operation of the ambulance service. They've created an arrangement where, and I don't take me at 100% of my word, I don't have a full understanding of this, but the cities have entered into a taxing district agreement to fund the ambulance service, and the townships didn't want to be a part of the taxing district, but they're contributing money on, some amount of money. And what they've all agreed to is while there would be a joint, the Dodge City was going to continue to operate it, the rest of the folks that are contributing money would have a financial advisory committee that would have some oversight over the ambulance budget, and some control over the system that way. Again, those structures are whatever the community wants to agree upon in terms of joint powers agreement.
So Charles, could we have a joint powers running the ambulance service without a taxing district?
Sure. You would basically just be creating a new, you could create a joint powers board. An equivalent would be that would be the same as a 501c3 that has a board of directors, that oversees ownership of an ambulance service. Only your board of directors would be made up of, representatives from the municipality.
Correct. Okay. How about Flowood Ambulance? Weren't they part of a taxing district a while ago?
I'm sorry.
Floodwood? That's just up, what's a good way to describe that? Up 37, 73, I'm sorry. It's,
Which I have a really hard,
it's,
there's something that sounds like they're really far away, I can't.
Somewhere else. Floodwood, Minnesota. It's one hour.
I don't know if Floodwood has a taxing district or not.
okay. I had heard that they have, but I wasn't sure. Yeah, I think the question was, how long would it take? Say, we're at a point where the city is willing to continue servicing the ambulance service. We are applying for the license. What is the time frame in between that transition?
Yeah, so end of the day works, I think, shoot.
Because from my standpoint, the application process is the simplest part of this whole thing.
Mhm.
You know, it's just all those incidentals on the outside, you know, are what is the biggest concern, I think, for the joint powers. Because your process, Charles, is pretty straightforward. You have to do this, 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 and this, then it goes to the MSRB, goes through your process, and then you either, you know, grant it or deny it, right?
Correct. Yeah, I agree with your assessment that the more complicated part is creating that joint powers board and assigning them powers, you know, and responsibilities that all of the community can agree on.
I don't really have any questions. Do you guys have?
No, and when Charles, when you met with the group, it was, what was it?
Was it in February?
Yeah, it must have been.
Yeah, in February.
I think what I gathered from you is a lot of your questions or a lot of the information that you provided was geared towards that application process. And it sounds like maybe we have some questions that are beyond the scope of you, but wanted you to have the opportunity or at least just for the rest of the council to kind of hear how that process goes.
Yeah.
If you could do some just cliff notes on that quick, just so.
On the application process.
Yeah, like the 3 to 4 months part, and then, yeah.
Yeah, so it starts with submitting a paper application, which is available on our website, and I can email a copy of that to that, if you guys want me to get that going. So that's a paper application. The instructions are pretty well laid out and extensive, like half the pages of the application are the instructions and the other half is the actual application. Once that application gets submitted to the EMSRB, we then review it for completeness and make any requests for additional information that we might need. And once the application is deemed complete, and there's also a $150 application fee that needs to be submitted at the same time. Once the board deems that application is complete, we then publish a notice of completed application in the state register, local newspapers, as well as we send notifications to neighboring ambulance services, the public health board, you know, any municipalities that are covered by the PSA. There's a whole list of statutorily obligated notifications that we have to do, and then that opens the 30-day public comment period. During that period, any member of the public can submit a comment in support or opposition to the license application. If we receive fewer than 5 comments opposing the application, then that exempts the applicant from a contested case hearing process, and that can move right to the next step is to schedule an inspection to ensure that the service will be compliant with all the requirements in 144E. And then that goes, once that inspection is complete, then it goes to the board for approval or denial. If during the public comment period we receive more than 5 comments opposing the application, that opens up two roads. Either the applicant can take 30 days to try to resolve any of those, those objections, and if they can get to 5 or fewer objections, then they, that everything's good, it'll go to the board for approval. If the applicant fails to resolve any of those objections, then it can proceed to a contested case hearing, and that is a whole other can of worms.
So, and I think you mentioned last time when, and I think it was already asked today too, but with the joint powers situation, there wasn't really anyone that you would pick out of the lineup that would say, yeah, they did this right.
Okay, area fire district has had a taxing district for a very long time. I know they are currently running into some rough patches with the townships that are covered in that taxing district, and so you could just connect with okay to see how that went. They've had that taxing district for a very long time though.
Okay. just helpful to have a couple examples in case somebody wants to reach out directly and ask more questions, because at this point in time, I think, and what we talked about before, is it's hard to nail down specific questions when you don't even know what you're asking at this point.
Yeah.
Is it, Charles, I want to, just one quick question that's been brought up. We have the 50 municipalities and townships all within. If one of those chooses not to join, we still, I shouldn't say we, the ambulance service still has to provide service to that entity, correct?
Correct. So the ambulance, with, being a licensed ambulance service and having that geographic TSA obligates the ambulance service to respond into all parts of their TSA. So if there's a portion of a community that's left out of the taxing district, you're still required to provide ambulance service to them.
Okay, just re-verifying that. I thought that was true,
Yeah.
so, okay.
Does anyone have any other questions for Charles?
Yeah, I have a question. So if this comes to fruition and this license gets transferred or a new license is put in place, what happens with those ambulances? Is that required, like, to go along with the new license? Would they have to be purchased? Would they be inspected, to make sure that they're up to snuff? Or is there any regulations on that?
Could somebody just kind of repeat, summarize the question?
So
I think I got most of it, but.
So Mayor or Councilor Levine is referring to like the assets of the ambulance, like how does that, and I think did you say early on that you couldn't, can you speak at all to that? Like, does that automatically go with, because that's Nashwaak's? So do all the assets automatically, somehow figure into the joint powers, or is there?
That would be up to the joint powers to negotiate with the city.
Okay.
So, and that deal can look very different depending on what's going on. I think we just, there was just a transfer of ownership from a private entity to a hospital system for the ambulance service, and I think they arranged it where it was like, they sold everything for like $1.
Oh, I
You know,
think that's
so
the
it
topic.
really looks different depending on how, but that would be sort of like on the business side of things, so we don't really have direct, I don't have a ton of like direct input or guidance for you on that, but I think that's a negotiation to happen between, the ambulance service and the joint powers board. Where I could speak to is the new license would be required to have what we call a base of operations within the TSA, and then a base of operations is your main headquarters. Currently that's located in the city of Nashwaak, and they have like an ambulance garage. Those assets could potentially be transferred to the Joint Powers Board. If that's how you guys wanted to structure that deal, because the Joint Powers Board would still need to operate the ambulance service out of a central base of operations.
And then as far as licensing, Pam, once the new license, in a perfect world, the new joint powers is going to be the new managers of the ambulance service and hold the license, you will still have to come in and do a full inspection, correct?
So we would come out and ensure, as part of the licensure application process, we would come out and inspect the service and ensure you had adequate supply protocols, that you had the correct policies and things on file, personnel files, all of that stuff. We would come out and inspect and make sure that you had. And if a lot of that transferred over from, if you're able to transfer all of those assets from the existing ambulance service, give the Joint Powers Board a leg up because you already have a lot of that work already done.
Right.
But we would review the documents, personnel rosters, everything that we do a normal inspection on as part of that process.
Got it.
So you
Okay,
pretty much
thank
get a clean bill of health before you even start, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty
the
much.
specific language in statute, requires that the ambulance service will be compliant with the provisions of the 144E, whatever the numbers are, prior to the board granting the license.
Okay. And I think that, I don't know if that question was asked last time, was it?
I don't know for sure.
It's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to make sure if the ambulances needed inspections, obviously, yeah.
Well, and they talked about the age of the ambulance, like all of that stuff has to come, like It all has to
Yeah.
come into play.
Yeah.
So, did you have another?
I don't think so. I think Charles, you've been hopefully,
Yeah.
yeah. And I think the big thing, like I said, this is actually the easy part of this whole business.
Yep, this
Yeah.
contract.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, thank you for me, Charles. This is Karen signing out.
Thank you.
Thank you, Charles, appreciate it.
Yeah, would you guys like me to send back a copy of the ambulance license application? Just so you can see it?
Sure,
Sure.
yeah. That would be great.
Okay, and then I can also, I did this for, the city, Nashville as well. I have a very brief one-pager fact sheet that the Minnesota Ambulance Association put out about tax and district. It just kind of answers some questions. I can send that out to you too to take a look at. It also has links to different areas of Minnesota statutes that are applicable.
I think that would be perfect, thank you.
Okay, I will send both of those to that, after we get off the phone here.
Okay. Well, thank you for your time,
Thanks.
appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
My pleasure, I'm happy to answer questions. Don't hesitate to reach out.
Okay, thanks, bye.
Thank you, bye-bye.
So do we have anything for?
No.
According to this, what we got, a reading material on this, Nashua is gonna sign them over for $1.
Yeah, right, yeah,
The
right. I
ambulances
think
and
lock,
stuff.
stock, and barrel, yeah.
As far as the existing land and buildings, then the ambulance service would have, the new ambulance service form will have to pay Nashua for using the building and cost heat and whatever is associated with it. That's gonna be part of the deal.
Yeah, so I,
Unless somewhere along the line you decide to put your own building up,
Right.
then they just get it back.
yeah, so for that next meeting, and I think it's on the 21st. 27th? It's after our next council meeting at 6:30. So I think at that point in time, we're really wanting to know who's in and who's.
Pretty much, and I know our voters weren't sure. They didn't want to set the levy last night because they were, bottom line, like Tanya and I were talking, we want, we don't want to know what your budget is, but we want to know what this is costing us.
I want facts.
Yeah,
I want to
I want to see
in
in 2023, yeah.
Is your internet bill being divided in 3 ways? Between the fire department, the police department, and the ambulance service that's there? Is your heat being divided? Is your wages that are being paid, how are they being distributed? Courts doing police department and ambulance, how is that being done? That's what I want to see. I don't want to see your budget. I mean, like, I got that,
Right.
so.
I know as, just being past coordinator, the things that the new board, if and when it goes into place, you're gonna have to think about is the model of your employees. That's where really the biggest problem has come in. When I left, I was the only full-time employee, and then we did everything else just as a paid volunteer. And now we've got 6 full-time employees, that are also, are they receiving benefits again? Or just payroll?
I don't know.
But they are union.
I'm guessing they are.
Yeah.
I thought they were.
They keep, just
So
because they're in
that
the
is
union.
what has created this huge deficit. I mean, can you imagine? I mean, I don't even want to go into it because there's just so much history in my brain that I'm just going to keep all those commitments and promises to myself.
They're under AFSCME, so I'm guessing they're getting.
Yeah, so I
full
mean, those
benefits.
models are gonna have to be looked at the board, because I'm assuming with TAC is that if and once the joint powers is put together, I would never recommend that you have to offer a job to the existing employees.
I think that's going to be the only way, is if you go to a joint powers board, that you can dissolve what's already put in place. That's the issue,
Yes, and it
so-
sounds like that should be able to be done because it's a brand new entity.
correct.
And then you can start, the application process, and, if you wanna offer the process to the existing employees. I know a few personally, some I've never met before, but just as being the past coordinator and a clerk, I would highly recommend that current situation really be dissolved and really looked at it. Are we gonna ever get back to the days of John and I? No, it's just not gonna happen. We don't live in that society anymore. The police departments, fire departments, EMS, we're all looking for people, and people just don't sit home for $3.50 an hour anymore. It's not worth it to them because they don't have that commitment to, your community anymore. And that's nothing to do with anybody sitting here in the council or anybody in the room, that's just society has changed so drastically. It's that whole thing, it's not what can I do for you, it's what can you do for me, you know? So there's a lot of, you know, input that I'm more than happy to give, but I just, I wanna see the service survive. I definitely do, like I said, we serve 650 square miles. This side of our PSA is very close to Hibbing, so you know, I can understand the trepidation, like, oh geez, you know, they're right next door. They have a little higher level of care, but again, you gotta remember, you add that PSA piece to Hibbing ambulance, do they have the personnel to man that? And I'm sure you probably talked these things with them.
Yeah,
Yeah, and, you know, so that opens up, just because you say, no, we don't wanna do it, we wanna go into Hibbing, there's gonna be problems there too. You know, so I really would like to see this happen fairly. It's kind of Tony's legacy and it became mine and John's legacy too, so I just really hate to see it. I hate to see where it is right now, to be honest with you. It's just sad, and I can't pinpoint, you know, one finger at anything. It's just a combination of where they are today, so.
Well, I feel like at this point in time, it's almost as if the bigger, is your in or your out? And there's pros and cons with both. I feel like there's more cons if you're like the out person. You're like, you know, and I know where we stand, but the in and out part, and then I feel like a lot of the questions, and you correct me if I'm wrong, or if I'm missing something, but until that board is formed, a lot of these questions don't get answered, because that's where the negotiations happen, of this is what it needs to look like. So a lot of it, like our residents would wanna know how much is it, you don't know.
Right.
You
And
know?
that was, Krista, that was the biggest question last night, well, how much? And they kept looking at me for
Yeah.
answers, and I'm just, you know, I said, I'm sorry, folks, I knew what it was 5 years ago,
Yeah,
but I haven't had my hands on documents and all that stuff. I can know what model worked for me as a coordinator that provided a product, but there's many things that have come into place since then, not only the full-time staff, but the loss of revenue, and that could be from collectibles going down. Medicare probably doesn't reimburse what they should be reimbursing, and that's really out of the city of Nashwa's control. You know, there's nothing that they can do to stop that from. And again, we service a lot of Medicare, Medicaid patients. I think the last one I left, it was like 70% for Medicare, Medicaid. The only time you really made, you know, good collections is on the private payers and then on accidents, because those insurances will pay 100%. But that's 30% of your 70%, and then if your overhead keeps climbing, you know, that's why they are where they are now.
How about, so hypothetically, could you know, transport's where your money is. That's,
Oh,
you know,
yes.
that's what's gonna make you money.
Yes,
So could you potentially have people on standby just to do transports?
we kind of, when I was a coordinator, you know, we would sometimes have, well, quite often we had 2 transfers out at a time, because we had enough staff to be able to do that. But the problem is that once new ownership came over from Mens One, when Mr. Ducharme took over, he took a lot of those transfers away from, because we were doing a major part, I know it's a major part of the mental health transports coming up at Asta, because they were big enough, they didn't want to bother with them. And that transition did very well for the service. And the thing of it is that those being Mets One on this side and Hibbing on this side, their hospitals live within their communities, so they get the first word of refusal for these transfers. And I think Hibbing has buckled down and has started taking a lot more transfers than they used to, because of the same purposes. We need the cash, we need to bring the money in. So it was just, with that loss of revenue, that's huge. That's really huge. for
Are
the
they still
service.
running 3 rigs over there?
Yeah, they
And
still have
the
the transfer
rig,
cam,
okay.
and then the 150.
Okay.
Yeah, and I know they're not getting out. I mean, I used to do, you know, up to 38 transfers a month. You know, that was kind of more the norm than not, and I don't know what court's numbers are now. I'm guessing maybe like 10.
Well, and I'm wondering if, you know, at the end of the day, because if Nashwauk dissolves and there is no ambulance transport service anymore, or like ambulance service period for that 650 square miles, it has to be absorbed by Hibbing and by Mens One.
and before, yeah.
And it's just it's not feasible.
No.
There's just no way. So I'm wondering at the end of the day though, if you could like collectively sit down with the owner of Men's One and Jankel and say, hey, like, can we all make this work for everyone so that we're all getting a piece of the pie so that we can stay afloat with all of the ambulance issues
Yeah,
in the entire
conversation,
state?
you'll never know. right?
Exactly. I mean, it's food for thought that
Right.
those might be conversations further down the road that for everyone to succeed, how does it make sense that we can, split the pie a little bit? At least to stay afloat.
Right, right.
What are our options to raise money? What is
You know, it might
board
be
looking at?
different from, like, I would write transferred equipment. So, I mean, that would help, and I don't know that they've done any of that since I've left. I don't know, maybe they did get some COVID money, I have to stand corrected. I think they got some COVID money, so
They
they,
did for the ambulance.
I think so. But as far as generating income, I suppose with the joint powers, they may have different standards in, say, a municipality. I don't know those answers, because if we are truly a 501c3, that makes it easier to get
Mhm.
grants and stuff like that. But, yeah, I'm not really educated. I know little bits of it, but not the whole piece.
How are they gonna get money from all of the people that live in this
So-
area?
If I'm understanding, and Chris knows this, the question came up, do we want to go per capita, or do we want to just do, like, say, you're gonna, Keewatin, your fee's 10,000. And according to Charles, there's one group that does it both ways. Some townships did not want to pay per capita, so then they're charging that entity, a set fee. So that would be it. You number one, you'd be getting your monies from your user fees. Itasca County is still subsidizing the service. So a piece comes from that, and according to Eric Villeneuve, they would continue to provide that with joint powers. Other than that, I think that's just about it. I don't know that there's any other way to obtain money. And the thing of it is that, again, it comes down to the budget, where's money being spent, where can we trim, where can we?
Yeah.
I know there's been a lot of overtime paid because of the model they had, so I think that that's a piece that would need to be worked on.
I think most of it, if you look at, just even what was provided, it's wages, right? It's employed, you have your.
Well, it's wages and benefits.
Yeah, you have your.
I think that's no
employees.
matter what, and.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But it's most of those on-call, is the
Yeah.
having to pay those on-call
Mhm.
right.
people.
And I'm not saying that, we obviously know that the person flipping burgers at McDonald's shouldn't make more than somebody on EMT service that has actual lives in your hands. But you still can't pay that kind of money for when you're not doing loaded miles.
Right.
But,
Yeah.
to sit around and wait for a call, which there's days that we're busy. They come in, you can have 12 calls in a day,
Right,
in a couple hours, you don't know.
right.
So,
So I mean, I'm more than willing to share the knowledge that I've got, if somebody has some specifics and put something, it's just a very emotional, Pam knows how much that service meant to me. But I'll be happy to share my advice with what I can.
And I think I have more financial questions, which obviously that's for the city of Nashua.
And that's the thing I was telling the voters yesterday, they wanted the answers from me, it's the city of Nashua that has to provide that information.
And I mean, just in their minutes, they obviously stated that they, subsidize the service with their or the general fund with their service money, so.
Yeah.
And for how many years did they do it?
Remember I
Right.
battled
Yeah.
Pam that we were doing so well back then, I
Mhm.
wanted that money, and
Mhm.
Mr. Paul fought me on that.
Mhm.
So they wouldn't be where they were as bad as they were now, if they had listened to
Exactly.
that advice.
Well, and I think going to the
Common sense.
full-time service.
Oh,
really,
absolutely,
Yeah,
yeah,
Put the-
absolutely.
brakes on it. But if they're subsidizing just because they didn't get paid from SR on those taxes either, what did they do when they did get paid? Did they
Right.
put the money back in the service or
As I
not?
was
Or,
coordinator, I never saw any money from this, going to our funds.
yeah, it just came recently. Remember
Yeah.
they paid their
Yeah.
taxes? Yeah, a couple years ago.
Right.
Yeah, it was a lot of money. So, if
So
they,
maybe a hunk will be there. That'll be nice.
well, I don't know. It's hard to,
And that
we
was the
don't have any
question that was brought
financials,
up
so.
Last night, that say the Joint Powers Board comes to be, would SR pay that piece to the joint powers because the
Hmm.
city would no longer hold ownership of the license. So that's something for the joint powers to keep in consideration too. You know, you were doing it when it was the city, you know, with 3 departments, but now they only have 2, and so that's something to keep on.
Well, I think the 350, is that what you're talking about? I think
Whatever.
they were paying the 350 every quarter,
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
so,
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they
So
paid
that would be
that for
another
a
way of
while.
getting revenue, the other being, you know, if Esther would go into some kind of, you know, contract with that, so. And I don't know, was that a handshake hand or was there a contract?
I can't remember.
Yeah,
Maybe it was 350 a year. 50,000 a year it was.
I think
Yeah.
that sounds.
And then it was
about
split
right.
between the departments.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay, folks, anybody else? No?
Information.
Thank you for
Thanks,
that.
Karen.
Thanks, Karen.
Thank you for
Thank
that.
you very much. Any more discussion on that?
I just have one thing, so, just quickly, we don't have to, we can move it over to the next meeting, we just, with that meeting being on the 27th, I believe it is, following our council meeting, I just wanna bring everybody's attention back to the 2 questions that they want answered. And, to be able to go back to that meeting and have answers for that. So the city of Nashwauk is asking each entity within the Nashwauk Ambulance Service, if they wanna be a member of the Joint Powers Board. And then, this number 6 is established timeframe for all entities, to decide. You know, so they're looking, it's being like, and I don't have to be the person that goes there, we can switch it up to if somebody else wants to go to the ambulance meeting, I'm okay with that. I just want everybody to know that there is a timeline and we can't just be willy-nilly about it, we have to. So if we wanna discuss it and confirm on the 27th meeting, I'm okay with that, to give everybody time to think about it, but that's where we're at.
Okay, so this, I just got a question. So this is the proposed joint powers agreement that I'm seeing right here, because I didn't see it till now. This is still, but the other one is from a different entity.
Right.
Yeah.
the
So
one
this
they've
is-
Given us.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think we should wait till the next meeting. I kind of want to look through it because I
So look
haven't
at
seen
this
it yet.
and then next
Yeah.
meeting, okay,
Mhm.
all right.
I'll make a motion to add the discussion for the ambulance joint powers agreement on the next agenda.
And I'll support it.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Thank you. Krista? Next up, 6.2, Randy Off. Come up to the podium, please. This is on the waste management, 5-year extension proposal.
Good evening, Mayor Levine and fellow Keewatin council members. The current waste and recycling contract expires at the end of this month. I did submit a proposal back in December. And so we raise another 5-year term. And happy to answer any questions or discuss anything on the proposal.
When did you submit this, you said?
December 29th.
I guess, my biggest concern is why such a huge increase in the commercial ambulance?
Right, so, for the longest time, we've kept both Nashwauk and Keewatin's commercial rates very low because they're the only 2 exclusive contracts. In other words, no other haulers come into town. So you don't have, 2 or 3 haulers coming in to do commercial. So when we reviewed our costs, your costs are still way below what, let's say an open market, a gas station calls WMW like a 2-yard. They're closer to 160, 170, and the new rates are 118. But yes, we did see a significant increase, but those are just due to the cost that we've incurred since 2020 when the previous Red Dynasty was negotiated the last 5-year extension. But, your rates are well below all the other commercial rates, for open market throughout Itasca County.
We were just pretty low.
I look at it for a very long time, both your neighboring community and here have phenomenal rates that were easy to afford. I did speak with Beth Ann, if there's some consolidation you wanna do and use less amounts, we're okay with that. You know, if you wanna have dumpsters that are shared or so forth, or downsize in either the size of the container or the frequency,
I would like to look at some of the smaller ones, because no matter what, when we had done this last contract with Diana, it was fair game then, 5 years ago. She was totally on board with this. And for us to jump $10 in 5 years
for the residential.
for the residential, but then like Sinclair is $100 more a month for their 6-yard. You know, Dollar General's $100 more for their 4-yard. The school's going up. Yeah, these increases. And on this too, it is part of our fault, because when I look at what we were charged at $10, $10.98 for the 64 and $5.90 for the recycle, your charge to us was $16.88. And we were charging the people $17, so we made 12 cents.
So we were charging you 10.
For the green 64, $10.98,
Correct.
right.
And then still.
And we didn't do any, we hadn't done any increases, so it's really hard on, it's not good.
Okay, so for instance, neighboring communities, Coleraine, 1812 for the same container. Grand Rapids, 2206. So of all the contracts that I've renewed in the last year, Hill City, Calumet, Nashua, and recent La Prairie all pay more than you guys do residentially.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that you're
Nashua
able to do that is because you're exclusive, commercial and residential.
Mhm.
I have a question on the commercial. So are we getting, how are they doing it? Is it every other week or are they one time a week, Billy? What the pickup is, do you know?
Commercial, every week.
Every week, okay. So if some of the businesses, what if 10 people wanted it every week and 10 people wanted it every other week, we can go that way?
Absolutely.
Okay.
The ones that I've talked to, that's kind of where they're leaning.
Yep.
Some of them.
Yeah.
Bars downtown, they're full every week, just about.
Right.
But some of these side businesses aren't.
Right. And that's no problem. If everybody wanted to switch to every other week, wouldn't change. We wouldn't do anything with the rates other than what's proposed. It wouldn't, okay, now we're gonna have to charge you more because you have less frequency. No, we wouldn't do that.
Can we get, what are the different size dumpsters you have, smaller than the 64?
Are you talking about carts or dumpsters?
Parts, the 64
So you have a 64.
gallon, that's what we have
Was
right
the-
now.
Was the recycling every other week, and then you currently just have a 1 cart rate. That's the 64 for trash, and that's weekly.
No, but what are your sizes? What other sizes?
Okay, so, we have a bigger size at 96.
Do you have a smaller one?
They're kind of phasing out the 32, which is half the size.
I thought I saw some and that's why I was asking.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have.
Those are the ones that are kind of falling in the hopper. They're much skinnier, the ones that tip over in the winter. It's just, we've kind of gotten away from that. But the only one you're currently have on.
So that's all we're offered is the 64
Correct.
gallon green cart.
Yeah, just like you were in the previous contracts.
And I thought we could get a different size, that's why I was asking.
Yeah, I think those have been the same since 1993, the same size card. Or then, I think there was bag service at one time, but
So I have a question on the commercial recycling. How many places are actually doing that?
not very many. I think I had a printout in the proposal that showed everybody, they're highlighted in green, so anything that
Oh,
is
okay.
currently being used.
Okay, so yeah, there isn't many, okay.
And a lot of them are carts though. But you do have a couple, 2-yard recycles that are weekly.
Okay,
And,
okay. So there's only 1, 2, 3, 7, basically businesses that are recycling.
that are currently recycling, yeah.
So that looks, the 6-yard looks like it's going up about 30. The 96 gallon, not 30 cents, so, okay. So it's not a huge, too big of a increase on that recycling then for the commercials, okay.
We don't have 96 now, do we, in town?
She's talking commercial. The
Commercial.
residents have 64.
Yeah, 98 gallon, or 96 gallon recycle
96.
The commercial.
at the Legion.
But those are 64.
Our records show that they're 96. The price is the same. If you had a 64, 96 for the,
That's why I said we don't have
Yeah.
96 in town in Youngstown. And there's 64 up there because I was up there when they brought
When it says that Legion has 96 gallon recycle.
them. But they're the same price, and they don't have them up there, that's all I'm saying. They got 5.
So I guess we
Yes.
really don't have much of an option, right?
No, I don't see one.
So I guess I'll make a motion to approve the contract with Waste Management with the new pricing structure.
I'll support.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
No,
Roll call.
Roll call. Counselor Johnson,
no,
Counselor Levine,
Yes.
Mayor Levine,
Yes.
Counselor Jibri,
Yes.
Counselor Rouse,
Yes.
motion.
Motion carried.
Then I'll make another motion to direct the public utilities clerk to devise a rate schedule with proposals on what potential increases to the residential and the commercial garbage and recycling program and present at the next meeting.
I'll support that. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried.
Thank you, board members.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we're gonna discuss.
Yep.
Ellie? He's not here. Not here.
He's not here.
Just skip it.
All right, next up, Ellie, Becky, do you have anything for us, or?
No, not specifically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure you know we like you having here, like you being here.
Yeah, well, I appreciate being here.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor, I
Yes.
have some questions.
Yeah.
I guess, I'd kind of like to get started on the GIS
Yes.
doc, and get this in process. I don't know if you have done anything yet or where, looks like you're waiting for the map from. Is that something Beth has to request then, or the city clerk? It says, please request electrical system CAD map from Benchmark.
Yes.
Okay,
We are waiting for that map and we will review it. We
okay,
have reviewed the other 3 utility maps
okay,
and have just kind of put together a proposal of what that would take.
okay,
So we can have that ready for the next council meeting for
okay.
you guys to review.
Sure.
And then,
Okay.
because I'm assuming the electrical one will be in the same kind of technical stance. as
Same
the other
corridors
ones.
or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay,
It'll require the same amount of work, so,
okay,
yeah, we can have that proposal to you guys for next week, for next council meeting.
okay. Sounds good. I'll make a motion to request SEH to provide us with a quote on implementation of the GIS system for the city.
I'll second.
Any further discussion, all in favor?
That's
Aye. Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. 6.3, Bill Cook discussed damage claim, we'll table that.
Not here.
Motion for that.
No.
Okay. Unfinished business. Discuss O'Brien Reservoir construction contract with Benchmark. Well, we're gonna have to table that too, because we didn't get enough time from our meeting to get back the information we need.
Okay.
So that'll be on next meeting too. 7.2, under unfinished business, let's discuss this 15% finance fee. Let's set it tonight and be done with it. It's been on here 800 times. On here again. I thought we had it done last week. So,
I'm making a motion to leave it at the 15% as we set at the last meeting. And did we do a resolution on that or not? Okay. Well, I'd like to make a motion to adopt a resolution with the 15% that we had already presented at the last meeting.
I would like to speak on that, discussion, please.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that is not what I meant, and I listened to the, recording, and I did say 15%, and then I said flat fee 15, and what I meant was go from 25 down to $15. But then everything happened really fast, and that was my fault. I spoke wrong. I realized that after Billy had sent this, and I also emailed her the next day and said the same thing to her. So I just want that to be clarified, what I really meant at the last meeting. So.
So you didn't want 15?
I wanted $15. I said 15%, then I said 15.
I did
Flat
bring
fee.
up that it would be $30.
Yes, you did.
15% is way too high.
Way too
high. I mean, you
I
gotta look
agree.
at this as a math person.
And you brought it up like you said, Nick, but that's what I mean. It just went really fast and no one was thinking and I don't know, yeah. That was my fault that we had talked on it for so long, like you said, but my main intention, it was only $15, go from 25 to 15. That's what my intentions were. And that's not what had happened.
So, all right, I'll pull what my potential motion was. We didn't have a second. But, so by going from 25 to 15, that's gonna make everybody pay their bill sooner or later?
Nothing, no, there isn't gonna be anything that's gonna make anybody pay, I don't think
Right.
any sooner. I think the people that are paying late are still paying late. I think where this initially even came from was just looking at like the racking up of the fees. And I'm agree, I mean, we've had it on here forever. I mean, I don't think that doesn't change anything, but I think that this was the one thing and why I initially asked to have it on there, it's the one thing that we have control over. We all have seen the numbers that we've pulled in. It's not gonna change a lot, except for it's gonna reduce. It's not in our budget, it's nothing, it's just simply recognizing that the fee it's hard for some people. I mean, it just is. I mean, I'm comfortable with the $15 flat fee. The 15%, if you look at it and you look at the type of bills, the 25 looked good compared to that. So I just don't wanna tax people, I don't want people to have to pay more than what they were already paying. That wasn't my intention, because if that was the case, then I would have never even brought it up, I would have just left it at 25. So I would just like to see it be done tonight, but I would definitely echo what Counselor Bronson said with the $15.
And now the garbage is going up another 10 too.
Yeah, so you have all these fees that are going up. I
That
mean, it's
are
just
flat
crazy.
fees. And I don't know, what are the flat fees? 21, 20 for, no, 25 for garbage, right around there it's gonna be for recycling and.
Well, garbage is yeah, and it all goes up and you don't have a lot of options. I mean,
Mayor, can you call for the motion, please?
Yes. Do I have a motion for 15 flat?
yeah, I'll make a motion for 15.
I'll support.
Any further discussion?
No.
I will say one thing on it. I'll go along with the 15 flat fee, but Billy, I want you to keep an eye on it. And if we start having a whole bunch more people not paying their bills, I want you to let me know.
When does this go into effect?
March 1st,
April 1st.
or I mean April 1st,
April 1st.
I would say. Same as what we were supposed to do, March.
Yeah.
Any further discussion?
Or do you want to do it the same?
I
Do
can
you have
change it
time?
tomorrow.
Same implementation date.
Yeah.
March 1st.
Okay.
All in favor?
I got a second?
Yes, Susan.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried.
Thank you.
I want to see that one on here next time.
Exactly. It's going to
Okay,
bed.
Number 8, under new business. Approved clerk obtaining quote for a handicap door at the community center.
I'll make a motion.
Support.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. 8.2, approved to advertise hiring summer seasonal workers.
So moved.
Support.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. 8.3, discuss hiring a recreation assistant for ball field maintenance. Well, I guess we have to take applications, right?
Yep. So,
We have a candidate that came forward that might want to do it, but me and Pat would have to leave, so.
you can't vote on it. So,
Okay.
okay, just to put it out there, Wayne Levine said he would go down to the field and, like do the games and talk and that kind of stuff. So I guess it would just be now to advertise for request for an RFP for ball field maintenance person. Correct, Colleen?
And do you have a set amount of pay in mind, or do you want to advertise that, or just leave that open
Just
until you
leave
see
it
what
open,
candidates you
yeah.
have? So- And this would be a seasonal position, not to.
Yep, just for the summer.
So I'll make a motion to, post for that position? Is that what we're doing?
Advertise for.
Advertise
RFP.
for the ball field maintenance?
I was just gonna ask council, have you had somebody in that position previously? Do you have a job description or anything like that? So it's something you might want to think about too.
So they wouldn't be
I think we did.
an actual employee though.
Right. Oh, so just
So-
some guidance.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So
You don't
is
need
he
a job
gonna like
description.
do the field,
Right.
grade it or whatever, and then
Yeah.
chalk down?
Yeah.
So it's not really the maintenance
No,
out there,
it's,
it's just setting up for
ball
games.
Yeah, he won't.
And that'll be
And he's
clear on
not
the.
mowing or
No,
anything
none
like
of
that.
Maybe
That's
you
why I
could
just
put
wanted
those
to
duties
push
in
those
the
down.
description, just to kind of, rather than a job description per se, but maybe delineate the duties of the position and advertise for it.
Do I have a second?
I'll make it, okay, go ahead,
Any further discussion?
Who supported it?
I do.
Tanya.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. 8.4, approve a handicap sign at the American Legion, Post 452, North First Street, Keewatin. There used to be one a little bit farther down the street in front of the quad, and then that one got taken down for some reason, or we redid the poles. But there are some senior citizens that could use it in front of the Legion, so. Yeah, they just buy the pole, they'll put it on the pole, and they'll have one spot there.
They're gonna put it on the light pole then?
Yeah, I think so.
That's what made more sense to me.
Otherwise, if you put another pole and then when they plow, it's in the
It's
way.
too hard, yeah.
I don't want that. Just put it right on the light pole, and when the girls come in summer, or whoever paints, they can just do a little blue curve there later on.
I'll make a motion to put the handicap parking up at the Legion.
All support for discussion.
Okay.
Colleen, legally, can we do a curb or a handicap parking in the middle of the block? Because we won't have a curb cut.
Oh.
Hmm.
We should look into that, just give us,
Mhm.
give us a next meeting to take a quick look at that. Because I know you guys can decide what things are, but if,
Yep.
I don't know what the requirements are.
I believe the requirements have to have a curb cut with the,
Unless there's some kind of exception. we don't
Unless-
have to.
Ellie might know offhand.
Offhand, I don't know, but
Okay,
yeah, you wouldn't be ADA compliant.
Right.
Right,
I would
Mhm.
think you could do that, it's just not compliant.
when you just don't want to
Right.
expose the city to any liability, when you put up a
Exactly.
handicap sign and then someone gets injured.
Yeah.
So if you want to give
There's lots of
Ellie
them, that's
or
what
Brian, I
Yeah.
can't, I can look at it.
yeah, so you have to have like a little dog ramp, like you do on every corner.
just like the corners there, yeah.
I'm just.
Otherwise, the corners, you know.
Makes
Right, they would have to go
all
down to
way
the
down
corner, yeah.
Gotcha.
So, and I think that's probably why it was on the corner to begin with. And,
By Bernie's and then by
Yeah.
Susan wanted it, yeah.
and then would we be able to just put it back in the same spot, or does it have to be right in front of the Legion?
I'll have to
Yeah.
talk to them boys about it.
Didn't they have a spot in back
That's what I
for
thought
a
too.
while?
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a sign up, they had a spot in
Oh,
back
yeah.
for a while.
I think
So-
it's getting harder for him to walk.
But when
That's
they
the
do
whole
all
problem.
those burger fries and stuff, they
Yeah.
have
Oh, yeah.
somebody parking back there.
Yeah.
There's limited room as it is. So,
Hmm.
So Mary, do we need a motion?
If you want to direct either Ellie or Brian
Do we
to
want
take a
to
look at it
grade
on
your
your ADA
motion, or
compliance side.
update your motion?
Okay. I'll update my motion, to approve the handicap once we find we're ADA compliant.
And I'll support that.
any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. 8.5, adopt a resolution to accept $500 donation from James and Linda Wydra for the Boy Scout cabin improvements.
So move.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Who can say it faster?
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you, Jim and Linda.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'll send them a card.
8.6, adopt a resolution to sell 2 samplers for $800 to the city of Virginia. Closed bid received at City Hall. That's the only bid we got, so.
I'll make a motion.
I'll support.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. 8.7, discuss cleanup days. You want to talk on this,
We'll
Krista?
just go quickly so we know that the funding was cut for the cleanup days. That funding source is no longer available through Itasca County. And so it kind of puts us at a halt for our big to-do that we've done over the last couple of years. And so I just wanted to throw it out there for the council. In the past, we had the dumpsters down at the city garage and we made those available for residents. We just don't have the funding to be able to do this. I think we were kind of holding on, hoping that it would happen, and it didn't. So I don't know what the council's thoughts are on, I hate to not do anything, but
Well, I'm in favor of doing that, and if the Itasca County is gonna do it every other year, which is he didn't seem to say absolutely never gonna happen,
Not
but
like it's never.
yeah, but if we got the 30-yard dumpsters down there and asked, Demcon, and they have always been really helpful, we just pay the tipping fees like we did, and they bring it over to St. Louis County.
No, I think they only take, construction stuff in,
No, we
demolition.
get the 30-yard carts from them, then they bring it over to St. Louis County.
The roll-offs.
That's the roll-offs, yeah, that's what we've done,
All right,
remember?
Yep.
Yeah.
so then they can put,
So then you can do computers. I wouldn't recommend, the council needs to decide if you wanna do, beds or not, cause it costs more, electronics. As, that's the decision.
tires,
Yes,
Well,
I'm in
that's-
favor of it, but I don't know what our choice is, what we wanna do.
Well, and that's my only, because we were so successful the last several years with, the first year's 150,000 pounds of garbage. So putting dumpsters there could really turn into like everybody bringing it there. So we'd have to be very clear, and we probably have to go back to having somebody man it the whole time. Not
Well,
leaving it
as you
open.
did down there was someone down
Yeah.
there, it's the
Yeah.
same.
No, but we'd have to make sure that we would think that part through as far as, and we had no problems with volunteers. There were plenty of them.
So, so I was just thinking if we did it maybe just on a weekend, not have it a whole week long,
right?
just maybe a Saturday. And then with the volunteers or the ATV, whoever had helped last time, just pick that Saturday and then get some of those roll-offs and put them down there, but only for specific items, like we can't take couches and chairs and, you know what I mean? So that kind of stuff. And then if that's through DEMCON, I see Waste Management here has a 30-yard roll-off for the 4th of July. Maybe they want to donate one for cleanup
Well,
days
they wanted to be,
or day.
they wanted to help last time with it.
Mhm.
So I think we could put something together. I like the idea of a day.
Yeah,
or-
maybe just a day,
Yeah.
because otherwise,
Because we
Yeah.
wouldn't be able to do the pickup, because there's nowhere to put it, that's the whole
Right.
thing, and I think that was the part that people had a lot of fun with, and
Mm-hmm.
we could still, I think we still have money, don't we, Chris, but I mean, if we still wanted to do like a picnic or anything like that, we still have money put away in our fund for cleanup days that we received in donations, or we can hang on to it and hope that next year it's a different scenario, so,
So can we make a motion to have somebody look into like what the cost of the dumpster is, or if Waste Management will donate one, or Demcon will donate one, and then see what our options are for what we can dump, what we can't, and then put it on the agenda for next meeting. I'll make that motion.
and I'll support that motion with the little addition that Counselor Jivry investigates.
whoever. So I will work with Chris as usual. And
Okay.
we will we'll figure it out and bring something back. All right. Thank you.
Need to vote.
Motion?
Further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion.
And I just have one other comment. So I think because, and I don't know if we want to coincide this with the week prior to that day, whatever you guys come up with, but we did talk about doing like trees and brush. So we were going to set a week that we would do that as well in the spring and the fall for people to put their
Right.
brush out, and then we were going to go around and pick it up.
Yeah.
So we talked about doing that because we're not doing it every day now.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have those couple times a year. So once maybe you figure the year Saturday, we could set that up like the week prior or something.
Can I, when's the day of the?
Garage
June
sales?
14th, no, the cleanup thing. The working around town.
Yeah, the St. Louis,
June,
Day of action.
Day of Action, thank you,
yeah, June.
June 14th.
Okay, I just wanna make sure that we don't, so.
Yeah.
I think,
Some, May or something would probably be a good.
Okay.
I mean, but the weather's nice, we could even do April, you know. See how.
yeah,
it goes.
we'll talk and then,
Yeah.
and throw out some ideas and then bring it back next month. And
Perfect.
have some kind of game plan. Thank you.
New business 8.8, motion to transfer $5,018.70 from June 2023 and $5,014.44 from July 2023 from the electric service charge to the sewer service charge.
Mayor?
Yes.
Just to note that the auditor, this happened in 2023, and she would like to see this motion in your minutes, and that's the purpose of this.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Yes, this isn't electric, this is just the service charge, right?
This was the service charge from the street to the sewer when we first started doing that. At first, I think the first month it was still going to electric, that was transferred to sewer. From then on, it's been into sewer. So if this was that first transfer that we didn't switch it over. the ones-
Isn't it just called service charge?
It's service charge, but it was in electrical before, now it's sewer.
Okay.
This is the $10, right?
This is the $10.
Service charge, yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. 8.9, adopt a resolution to apply for and accept $500 donations from the Keewatin Legion, Advents, Nashwauk, Youth Family Fund, and Paisley Booster Club.
And that is for
Bike safety
bike safety.
for the police.
So moved.
Second.
If I could just interject, was it 500 total from all the groups?
Yeah, I was wondering that too.
Nope.
And-
No, it's
Each. 500 each.
500
Okay,
each.
in the resolution, could you put the amount, because I think it's important to
Sure.
know the contribution of each group.
Very
So
good.
any suggestions?
Mayor, who supported that?
I don't.
You didn't catch it?
Well, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. 8.10, adopt resolution to apply for and accept $75,000 grant from Itasca County American Rescue Plan, ARP funds, for Keewatin Fire Department roof replacement. We met with Commissioner Casey Venema, and they got some money back from, because they didn't get that board factory over in Grand Rapids, so we thought that was a good place to try to get the money for.
Well, I will make a motion.
Support.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
I do have a question. That's up to, right?
Up to.
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't have any committee reports?
No, I guess I could give a report. We had the 4th of July meeting last Wednesday.
Yeah.
That went good, and I got the raffle tickets and I forgot them.
Oh, I guess that means you have to sell them all.
No.
I want mine.
Yeah, I have them, so I'll get those out quickly. But everything's going good. We had a lot of participation from everybody in town, and so I think we got our agenda pretty well squared. We got band Thursday night, Friday night, beanbag tournament, axe throwing. What else do we have going on? The raffle. I think the main drive was going to do.
Medallion.
Oh, yeah, we're doing the medallion hunt. They're in charge of that. We're gonna start that, something new. And then they're having the singing, what is it?
Talent.
Acoustics, yeah, singing on
During the meeting,
during
that day before the.
Thursday, yeah, Thursday afternoon.
Did the
So,
wrestlers
yeah.
get exit?
Oh, and we have the wrestlers,
Oh, okay.
so. I don't remember everything. And then we have 2 bouncy houses coming, not the same as last year. Those are already taken, so we got 2 different ones. And then the church will be doing the same program as they did with freezies and popcorn and whatever. So, yeah.
Sounds like a plan. When are the festivities?
Thursday, July 4th, and Friday, July 5th.
Okay.
2 days.
So everybody.
So
Are you looking for more volunteers?
always.
But you have a good, but I mean, you.
I mean, kind of if we
Number.
try and kind of go with the same program as last year. I mean, the adult games and whatever. Billy's handling the beanbag tournament and with the main dry. I think the Legion's gonna get the axe throwing and one of the bands. We already have this Friday night band and the fireworks scheduled. Yeah,
You and bands, 3/10 is 2 nights?
Mhm.
4th and 5th,
4th and 5th.
fireworks
Yeah.
4th,
Fireworks the 5th.
the 5th.
So the Hobo Revival will be playing, I think we said 6 to 9, or it's early, it's gonna end early, and then Friday night will be another band, and that's 8 to 12, I believe, or something like that, so, with the fireworks on Friday as well. I can get you a little synopsis, so you're
Yeah, I like to come to meetings, but they're always on
Wednesday.
TV.
Actually, we have, our next meeting is April, it's a Monday, right?
The first,
April 1st. So at 5 o'clock right here. So anybody that wants to come, it's more than welcome. And I'll hand out more raffle tickets.
Hiding.
You're hiding.
I know, I just need them ASAP because
Okay.
last year somebody grabbed my people. And then I find the people. Which was bad.
That happens.
As soon as you
how
lose.
many department head meetings, council reports, do you have anything? Okay. I conclude.
I think that's it. You have
I
anything?
don't have any, do we need to go into closed session?
I think you have it noted if you want to discuss that, we certainly can. already.
Okay.
Okay.
5.
All right, we're gonna go into closed session, so.
You
have to read.
Statutory
You have to read.
provision there on it.
Mickey, you have to read that. You have to read that.
12-1, legal allegation. This meeting will be closed under attorney-client privilege for state statute 13B-05, subdivision 3B.
We're not on camera. so just-
Let me,
Recess.